let's do some problem solving now. Before we get started with that, we need to know what angle of elevation and angle of depression is. Two angles that are often referenced in the sighting of objects are the angle of elevation and angle of depression. So, I'm going to draw a diagram to explain that. Let's say that I've got a cliff here, and you were at the bottom of the cliff. You see some friends up at the top. Draw you. And you see some friends up here. Now, you're trying to get their attention. So you call out your friend's name. Hey, friends. You were walking, looking straight ahead, but you actually had to raise your eyes in order to see your friends. The angle that created is our angle of elevation. So you elevated your eyes to see your friends. Your friends, on the other hand, were probably looking straight ahead at the view, but when they heard you calling from down below, they took their eyes and looked down. And when they looked down, the angle that they created was the angle of depression. Now, interestingly enough, the angle of depression and the angle of elevation are the same angle. So your friends had to move their head the same amount of degrees that you had to move your head up to see it. Now, it's really important to know how to label this because the angle of elevation and depression is always relative to the horizon. So imagine where you were looking. Normally, you're looking straight ahead as you're walking, and then you raised your head, or your friends lowered their heads. So let's do an example. An airplane is flying at an altitude of 5 kilometers. The plane has a horizontal distance of 84 kilometers to the airport. Draw a diagram to illustrate the situation and what's the angle of depression that the plane needs to make in order to descend and make a direct path to the airport. Okay, so I know that the airplane is in the sky. The airplane is cruising at an altitude of 5 kilometers because it's reaching the airport. I know that the horizontal distance is 84 kilometers to the airport. Horizontal means the line created going left to right. Okay, now I need to know what angle of depression does the plane need to make in order to descend to the airport in a direct path. So let's revisit our definition of angle of depression. Angle of depression is the angle created by the horizon looking downwards. So we've got our angle of depression here. But remember we said that the angle of depression is always equal to the angle of elevation, meaning this angle here. So since angle A is actually within my triangle, I'm going to use this as my working angle. So if this is my working angle, I have 5 kilometers as my opposite and 84 as my adjacent. That means we're going to be using the tangent ratio. So tangent A is equal to opposite over adjacent. Let's undo tan in order to find A. So inverse tan of 5 over 84, and we have an angle of 3.4. Just say 3 degrees. Okay, let's do another question. We have a tiny but terrible alien standing on the top of the 550-meter tall CN Tower, threatening to harm Toronto. Agent Elvis is standing on the ground 220 meters away from the CN Tower with a laser. We need to draw a diagram and answer the question, what angle of elevation does Agent Elvis need to aim the laser at in order to reach the alien? Let's draw our diagram here. So I have, my CN Tower. CN Tower is 550 meters. There's an alien up top. And we have our agent here who has a laser, and he's going to point it at the alien. Now, a building, we can assume that it creates a 90-degree angle. So we're looking for the angle of elevation that Elvis needs to aim at in order to reach the alien. Right, so we're looking for this angle. I'm also going to label 220 here because we know that he's 220 meters away from the tower. Okay, let's identify our sides. CN Tower is our opposite. The distance away from the CN Tower is our adjacent. So we're going to use tangent again. Tan A is equal to opposite over adjacent. Okay, inverse tan of 550 divided by 220. Inverse tan 550 divided by 220, 68 degrees. Let's answer it in a sentence since this is a word problem. Right. we've done the first 5 questions. I'm going to give you another 5 questions that are word problems. So pause the video here. Please go to do the practice questions, and that would be it for today's lesson.